If you've ever felt mid-afternoon fatigue pressed down, literally, on the top of your head, there's a name for that sensation in one Himalayan tradition, and a 60-second practice that lifts it. Here's Dr. Robert Gilbert teaching it in his own voice, from a 2006 workshop most of his students never got to see. 3 things make this work, and the third will surprise even experienced meditators.
This practice that some of you have done with me before, we usually refer to by the simple name of the pulling up practice. And the pulling up practice is based on research that we did at the Clairvision School of Australia. I mentioned to you before the Clairvision School, headed by the French medical doctor Sagan. I lived there for a year, learned their techniques, and Dr. Sagan made me the first American instructor in their techniques, which I did for some period of time. And so this particular technique came about when they were studying what happens energetically in a person's field with chronic fatigue syndrome. And it's not only chronic fatigue syndrome, but really any time you feel tired. The basic idea is that when you feel tired, if you study a person's physical body and energy body, it's like they have a weight on the top of the head. And so when a person is very alert, they're wide awake and their energy anatomy and their physical body is like this. But when you're tired, you slump over. And it's like something is pushing you down. And what we found is that in some cases with chronic fatigue, and general cases of fatigue, that what's happening is that there's a kind of a burnout here. You begin to get tired and you begin to get sloppy in your thinking and you're feeling burned out. You have to recharge. Some of that is just when you've reached your energy maximum and you have to sleep and recover. But it can be with chronic fatigue, where you do not recover after sleep, that what has happened is related to that center above the head we talked about before. We have the central energy column, and interpenetrating it a series of vortices from the front and the back that are commonly referred to as the chakras at these 7 major positions. And then above the head, we have also what we might think of as chakras or energy platforms. They're considered differently in different traditions, but it's the same phenomena. And every one of these is also a center of energy, which is also a center of function. The function of the brow chakra is different than the function of the throat chakra, different from the function of the heart chakra. The same thing for every chakra above the head and below the body. They have different functions. That's why I called these grail points, because when you involute, when you move with 0 point centering your energy and awareness into the center of them, you get in touch with the quality of energy held in each point. And every point has a different energy quality. So that, as I mentioned before, this first platform above the head has particular aspects to it where it allows us to perceive packed thought forms and also forms of super fast mental functioning. And so it has a very high voltage to it. Because when you think about it, at what times are you able to think normally in a way that is extremely rapid and extremely clear? It's when you're extremely awake and you have a lot of energy. If you're very tired, you really can't do it. So this place of super fast mental functioning, perceiving packed thought forms, great mental clarity, has a higher voltage, a higher charge to it than can actually exist within the physical body itself. This has to do with the energy structure of the field vis-a-vis the energy structure of the part of us that's actually within the physical form. Because the field itself is full of nodal points of energy and full of matrices of interconnections. So this center above the head has particular functions and a very high charge. And as we mentioned the other day, what can sometimes happen is that this center above the head, when we think of ourselves as being here, and particularly when we are spiritually striving people, we want the content and the function of what is held here in the field to actually be here. And there is the subconscious tendency to let this center begin to move in its energetic closer down to the top of the head. And that then leads to too high an energetic charge at the top of the head, which leads to a burnout effect. This is referred to in some Himalayan schools with a type of a burnout of the Nadis, the subtle energy channels that happen when this energy comes too close to the top of the head. And again, when we subconsciously allow this to come too far, we get that effect. So this particular practice came about as a way to help relieve fatigue at any time, and particularly to help relieve certain types of chronic fatigue syndrome. So we had many people at the school that had a full remission of chronic fatigue syndrome symptoms with doing this practice. However, I want to state the disclaimer that there are some types of chronic fatigue that can be helped by this but will not be solved by this, particularly forms of chronic fatigue that come from toxins in the body. The body must be detoxified to have the complete effect. Nonetheless, it will be beneficial. So the practice itself, that again some of you are already familiar with, is that we have a particular axis of energy here. And so what we actually have is the capacity to pull this energy one direction or another. A moment ago there was the metaphor of using a magnet, like we have a magnet above us and a magnet below us. We can also refer to it as a muscle, because if you look at the structure of the muscles in the body, all muscles pull, no muscles push. Every part of the body is a bilateral polarized system of a pulling muscle with the bicep and a pulling muscle with the tricep. All pull, none push. And so we have the capacity to pull the energy here higher up the column. The thing is that we're not normally conscious of the fact that we actually have these energy axes and these energetic muscles on the vertical axis and other axis of the body. When we do become aware of it, we can start flexing those energy axes. It's like a muscle that is atrophied. We've got to start flexing it, and then we become aware that we can use it all the time. So that for this type of practice, for the first few times you do it, usually you feel some effect, but it gets much stronger with repetition. The more that you do it, the more that atrophied energetic muscle becomes active again, and you can strongly activate this particular practice. At the Clairvision School, when we would do it as a group, in the foundation group of that school, there's about 100 people well trained in the technique that have been doing it for years together. You could really feel the energetic lid just pop off the space that you were in from that pulling up effect. So to give you a sense of what I'm talking about, what I'd like you to do is to start just by taking your right hand and putting the palm of the right hand on the top of the head. And then I'd like you to just close your eyes and just become aware of the feeling of pressure and weight of your hand on top of the head. And you can even push down very gently with your palm on top of the head. Not enough to cause any pain, just enough to feel that there is a pressure or weight on the top of the head. We want you to feel it kinesthetically, because this is not so much a visualization as an energy exercise. You need to feel the energy of it. So feeling the energy at the top of the head, then start raising your palm just off the top of the head, just about an inch, and tune in energetically to how that feels. How does it feel now at the head with the energy, with the weight, the pressure, moved up slightly so it's no longer pushing down directly on the head? And energetically you can still feel the hand hovering slightly above the crown. Then just start moving, keeping your eyes closed, move your hand straight up in a straight vertical direction, straight up above your head, and tune into the feeling of it as the hand rises up higher and higher, until your arm is at full extension, and you feel how it feels as the hand rises higher and higher, and the energy clears above the top of the head. And when your arm's at full extension, you can just drop your arm and open your eyes. That's not the practice, that's just to give you an energetic reference for the practice. The actual practice is this, that for each repetition, I'm going to say pull up. And at the time that I say pull up, you're going to breathe in sharply, raise the eyebrows at the first moment, and it's as if you're above yourself and you're flexing this energetic muscle and you're pulling the energy straight up the column. It's as if you have a tube running from straight above you, straight down through the center of the body into the earth. You're pulling the energy as if from above you, that muscle is flexing, pulling that energy straight up. It's a little hard to describe, but once you start doing it, it's easy to feel that column of energy and what it's like to pull from above yourself that energy up. So the reason why we raise the eyebrows and breathe in sharply at the same time is that, to be honest, to begin with, most of us aren't aware we have this column of energy, or that we have a muscle that can activate it. And so what happens is that we can actually use the combination of the sharp intake of breath and the sharp raising of the eyebrows simultaneously to actually activate the pulling function. And that's one thing that this does. By breathing in sharply and raising the eyebrows, it activates the pulling function. So it allows you to feel it and to use it much more quickly. And so again, basically what I'll do is I'll say pull up, and at that moment, pull up, sharp intake of breath, raising of the eyebrows at the same moment as you're pulling the energy straight up the column. And then when I say exhale, however far up you felt the energy go up the column, leave it that high, don't let it plop back down. Leave it that high, exhale, and you lower the eyebrows. Then next time that I say pull up, you'll start from as far as the energy got the first time, and then pull up again. Maybe go a little higher up, leave it high up, and then when you exhale, you'll lower the eyebrows and exhale. So again, for each repetition, you're going to inhale, raise the eyebrows, and pull up, leave the energy high, and then when you exhale, leaving the energy high, you will lower the eyebrows and exhale. And that means that every time, with each repetition, you get the energy a little bit higher. Now again, this is an energy practice, not a visualization. Now what I mean by that is I don't want to just pretend that I'm pulling the energy up to the moon, but actually it hasn't shifted that far in my field. What I want to do is actually feel it tangibly. And so for this particular practice and this way of working, even if you just felt it budge a little bit, that's better than pretending it's doing something it's not doing. Stay with your true kinesthetic experience. For some people, it'll move way up. If you just go a little bit, that's fine. Leave it however high it goes and pull up with the next repetition. Any questions on the actual conduct of the practice? Okay? So again, I will say pull up, you'll breathe in sharply, raise the eyebrows, pull the energy up, leave it high, and when I say exhale, lower the eyebrows, leave the energy high, and get ready for the next pull. Now the thing is that we're not actually moving so much the actual position of the chakra above the head. We're moving the energies and allowing them to go further and further up the column. It's almost like we're cleaning the column. But that will also allow those energies to go back to their correct positions in the various centers above the head. Now for this, I'm going to ask you, if you're wearing your glasses, to please remove your glasses and put them on the table in front of you. I'm also going to ask you to do the practice with your eyes closed so you can tune into the energy better. And I'm going to ask you to sit up relatively straight. You don't have a lot of tension in the body. It's not a strict military posture. But you want to sit up straight because the better alignment that you have between the back of the head and the spine, the better this works. And so one way to check that is to make sure you're not sitting with your chin jutted out. You might want to try pulling the chin in a little bit to see if that feels like a better adjustment between the back of the head and the spine. And then with the eyes closed, become aware of the energy at the very top of the head. Become aware of the column, and we'll start our repetitions. Pull up, sharp intake of breath, raising the eyebrows, pulling the energy up, leave it high, and exhale, lower the eyebrows. Pull up, raising the energy high, leave it high, and exhale, lower the eyebrows. Pull up, raise the energy high, leave it high, and exhale, lower the eyebrows. Pull up, leave the energy high, exhale, lower the eyebrows. Pull up, leave the energy high, exhale, lower the eyebrows. Pull up, and exhale, lower the eyebrows. Last repetition, good strong, pull up, leave the energy high, and exhale, lower the eyebrows. And now, with the eyes closed, check into the feeling of the energy above your head and the feeling of energy in your general field, and ask yourself the silent question, how has this practice structured my body of energy? Now, one last quick thing to do while you have your eyes closed. Putting your awareness at the center, above the head. And if you're not sure where the center above the head is, just start with your awareness at the crown of the head, and then slowly move your energy and awareness up above the head in a vertical direction along that same column that you just moved the energy up. And after you move up an inch, maybe 2 inches, keep going up, straight vertical direction. At some point, before you go up too high, you should feel a place straight vertical above the top of the head in that column of energy. A place that feels like a place of light, or a place that feels like additional energetic vibration, a stronger energy, or to some of you it might feel like a platform of energy, a place that you can rest your energy and attention at that platform. If you were to move your awareness above that platform, it would pretty naturally keep moving upward. And if you move your awareness below that platform, there's a tendency for it to want to move back down into the body. Putting the attention right in the center of that platform is a stable place to rest the awareness. So just become aware of what you feel above the head at a place above the head that feels like additional vibration or density, or a platform to rest your awareness at. Now, holding that awareness of that position above the head in your mind, I would like you to move your awareness now straight down the channel above the head, so you're moving from the platform straight down to the crown center, and now move it straight down through the center of the body. Straight down through the center of the body to exit at the perineum, at the base of the body, going down beneath your feet, below the body, and finding a space that's equally far below the body as this center above the head is above the body. And because you're sitting in a chair, it's going to be directly beneath the main part of your body, beneath your trunk. So look for it straight down, beneath the feet, down into the earth, the first platform of energy down beneath you in the straight column of energy. And when you find that platform below, allow your energy to rest there for a moment. You can do the 0 point centering into that energy center or platform, the first one you come to beneath the body in the central column, and see if you can get a sense of its energetic, what it feels like, what it tastes like. 0 point centering into the center of it. And just get a sense of how that center feels different from the one above the head. Has a different effect on the body of energy. It's the exact opposite, it's complementary. And now one last thing that I'd like you to do is being aware simultaneously of that center beneath you in the central column, and being aware of the center above you, the first center above the head that you found. Just become aware of those two centers simultaneously, an equal distance above and below the body. And then I would like you to get a sense of the connection of these 2 points with curved lines of energy or curved lines of light that go from the point above the head out to either side of your body, and then around you, and then touching in a curved form like a bow, touching the center below the feet. And you'll find that this has the form of a vesica. So that now you're energetically inside of a vesica that surrounds your body and that is anchored at the point above the head and the point below the body. Like the pictures that you see of Christ in the Vesica in the cathedrals of Europe. And just spend a moment becoming aware of that Vesica form, connecting the center above and the center below. And see if there's any energetic shift that you get when the Vesica is enclosing your physical body and connecting the point above and the point below. That's different than what you feel when it's just the point above and the point below with no Vesica connecting them, to see if it feels any different. Okay, keeping the eyes closed, you can let go of that practice. And once again, just ask yourself the silent question, how has this practice structured my body of energy? And what I'd like you to do now is to rub your palms briskly together, getting the palms very warm. And when the palms are very warm, cupping the warm palms over the closed eyes. No direct pressure against the eyeball, just resting the palms above the eyes, letting the warmth of the palms sink into the eyes. Enjoying the feeling of the warmth on the eyes. And at the same time, becoming aware of the feeling of your feet on the floor, the feeling of your body sitting in the chair, coming back to regular awareness. Last moment of enjoying the warmth of the palms on the eyes, feeling your body in the chair, feet on the floor. And when you're ready, you can snap the fingers of either hand and open your eyes.
What Dr. Gilbert just taught you is, in his own words, a reactivation of an atrophied muscle. The first time, you might feel something subtle, a slight pressure shift, a sense of the weight lifting an inch off your crown. Most of what's possible only opens with repetition. Twice a day for a week is the threshold most practitioners describe. If this is the kind of practice you want more of, grounded, tradition-accurate, immediately verifiable through your own direct experience, subscribe. There's much more of Dr. Gilbert's work here, and we're going much deeper.